many different recreations of dishes that cater to different dietary needs. And this is definitely one of them. It's completely vegan, and you said it's a recreation of which one? Which dish?
It's our recreation of a Nashville hot style chicken sandwich, but we made it entirely vegan. And then I added my own spin to it.
Yeah, what's the spin?
Well, I'm a huge fan of wild flavors and textures and temperatures.
Okay.
So in this case, of course, you're going to have the creamy crispiness of your coleslaw, but this particular mushroom that we created is there's multiple steps in the process of creating this mushroom, where it not only has a really fantastic interior texture, but it's got a super crispy rice coating on the outside of it.
Okay.
And then our hot spice that we're using is comprised of those toasted and fresh ground spices mixed with olive oil instead of butter or lard, like is typical for your regular Nashville hot sandwich.
Yeah.
We include avocado, which is a different twist on this, and then a very special sauce that kind of has an Indian influence to it. It's made with serrano, cumin, and cilantro, which brings a lot of excitement and heat to this sandwich. And these flavors all together create a magical, almost euphoric experience when dining. And for certainly people that are vegan are very grateful for it, but even those people that aren't vegan end up enjoying our vegan food just as much as the vegans do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a vegetarian myself, and I've tried many of your dishes off the menu, and even some other fun ones that you've created just for me.
Yeah.
So I always feel real special about that, and I love the fact that you cater to so many people of different needs, and that's the reason why people love your food so much, and they come here so often. They're regular, so I love that so much, and it looks amazing.
I felt like food has a tendency to divide people, almost like political beliefs, race, and religion as well, you know. And when I set out to cook for people, it was because it was a way of me expressing love and reaching to people and being able to create a dynamic that exists just within our little universe of serving food, right? So one of my goals for Harvest, it became clear to me as we opened up our doors how many people out there had different dietary needs and how separate they were from each different people with unique backgrounds. So I felt like I wanted to have a place where our food choices don't divide us.
And you've really made that happen. I mean, you've really dug into the science of the food itself, just so that there's literally a menu for everyone. So, which I'd love to showcase later on. There's a menu for everyone, and I think that's so unique, and that's the one thing that's gonna keep bringing people back for more and more. So why we're here. This is why this is so special.
Who wants to taste this?
So, okay, we're gonna dig in.
It's gonna be messy, but you know what?
Yeah.
You're gonna get dirty, and that's what it's about. So I'm gonna give you this apron. Okay, here we go.
Oh boy. It's gonna be messy.
Yep. Take a look. Okay, girlfriend.
So flavorful.
You need some gloves?
Okay.
You got this?
Yeah, maybe some gloves.
Gloves?
Can I just
okay.
grab?
Yeah, I know that you are not, as you said, a good Indian when it comes to heavy spice.
No, I'm really not.
But can I tempt you to just try this?
Yes.
After all, I did this particular spice is inspired by flavors from India.
Okay.
Tell me what you think.
We love some fusion.
Bite into that, girlfriend.
Okay.
All right.
I love how there's like so many different components in this, and the bite, I genuinely don't like mushroom. I try to avoid it anywhere I go, but this tastes so amazing. I can't even tell that it is mushroom.
Try it with that
I love how crispy it is, and I love how all of the components are coming together so nicely, and it's not even that spicy, so I'm glad I can eat it. Like, it's genuinely so good.
Excellent.
And you said you did a little fusion with the chutney, so let's talk about that again.
Well, I felt like I said, I'm really big on bold flavors and textures. And when I create a dish, I feel like I can see the components in my mind that need to be there. I can taste and smell them. And after creating this, I felt like I needed a connection through some sort of a chutney sauce, threw a few things in the blender and came up with this one, which
you did a
inevitably
fantastic
had an
job.
Indian flavor to it.
Yeah, let's come a bit closer. Let's see. I want everyone to see how all the different pieces, there's just so much that's going on here. And it's completely vegan. That's just so crazy.
Has to be my favorite vegan, the favorite vegan thing I've created before.
And it's so messy, but it's like part of the experience. It's genuinely so cool.
Yeah.
I think the apron should come with this dish. I think.
Apron?
Yeah,
gloves.
or like a little bib, you know. Hello everyone and welcome to the Culinary Voice. Today I'm going to introduce to you someone really special and someone so close to my heart. She's a woman that's full of joy and full of so much love, where every time I see her I just feel like giving her a hug, and we usually do hug it out every time. I'm sitting in her wonderful restaurant that feels like a home, and every time I'm here it's always like decorated so nicely and has all the different components that make her who she is. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to Chef Lori Pope. Hi Miss Lori, how are you doing?
Good, Manushi, glad to see you today.
You too. I am so happy to be here. Like I said, I'm so comfortable here. It feels like I'm just chatting with you in your home, which it practically is, and I'm so happy to be here. It's going to be like a fun little girl chat today. I just wanted to showcase you and who you are as a person to everyone who is watching here today. You have something really special about you. You are definitely like the definition of love. I feel like whether it's with your customers, whether it's with your staff, or anyone that is around you. And I just want to show everyone like the person that you are. You're someone that had a non-traditional route to doing all of this. You had a start that was like much later on in life. So let's backtrack a little bit in time and start with that. What made you do this and what made you step into this industry?
As long as I can remember, I have loved cooking. I loved the way it made me feel. I was obsessed with the creativity of being able to put together food components and come up with something that met my taste. It's something I felt like I had control over. And I learned at a very early age that when you give somebody something good to eat, you get this loving energy from them. I suppose that was a motivation for me to just continue to want to cook throughout my whole childhood. So there was a time in my life where my mother had 9 children, and so there was a time in my life where she said, hey, you're in charge of planning all the meals and budgeting for all the groceries.
Yeah, when was that? How old were you?
It started when I was like 13.
Okay.
So she would give me all the circulars from all the different grocery stores and tell me that I could only buy something that was on sale. Mm-hmm. And that I needed to plan meals for, there was 11 of us at the time. So I needed to plan
big family.
meals. Yeah. Plan meals for all of them, and that they had to be nutritionally balanced, and that they had to be within our budget at the time, which was not a whole lot for a large family like that, but with creativity, she says, I know with your creativity you're going to make something wonderful out of it. So I feel like having those limits put me in a situation where I needed to be very creative with flavors. And I still, my brothers and sisters would talk about the fact that I was cooking and what was happening, because my mother made us post our menus on the refrigerator so everybody knew what dinner was going to be, so they wouldn't eat that food before I cooked it.
Right.
And I could hear my siblings talking about, oh, she's going to make her spaghetti. Oh, she's going to make these Swedish meatballs. And it made me feel popular in my own house. Like, oh, everyone's looking forward to my cooking, you know?
Yeah.
So it was one of those things that I felt like gave me a sense of responsibility and purpose within my own little family unit. And as I got older, I realized that not only was it fun for me to do it, and it was fun for them to experience it, but it was helpful to my parents as well, that I was actually taking on that duty. So it was really a perfect, magical situation for me. And as an adult, and as I grew up, and went into started my own family, I'm pretty sure my husband wanted to marry me because I could cook. I'm pretty sure he had that checkbox like, okay, she can cook, let's do this.
She does it really well, by the way. I wouldn't blame him.
So I would often prepare meals and invite people over and imagine myself as a chef in a restaurant. And I even, as a child, would pretend like I was a chef serving my brothers and sisters. And, back in those days, there were no chef shows on TV.
Right.
So it was just something I had in my mind of that professional that's cooking for someone.
A level of satisfaction. And when we've talked before, we've talked about spirituality. We've talked about manifestation, too. And I really feel like you've manifested this entire, like, showcase that you're doing right now with your wonderful food, and it's really cool to see that.
It has to be. It has to have been a manifestation, and one of the things I learned through the journey is that I changed as a human being the closer I got to what my real purpose was. It changed me. And we were mentioning the unconventionalness of me getting a late start. So the motive, the burning desire was always there, but somehow I convinced myself that I was destined for a different type of a career. To tell you totally honestly, I never actually believed that I could be a chef or that I could have that as a career, because I thought that I was expected to go into a business role, something different. So I did.
Yeah. And
I learned a lot from it, and I'm super grateful for all the opportunities and experiences it gave me, and I cooked every chance I got to do something fun. It was cooking. But when it became very, very clear to me that my time might be running out if I don't jump in now, it was the wildest thing for me to grasp that at 52 years old, I would start off in a restaurant that I owned, having zero restaurant experience and also zero professional chef experience. And what I was bringing with me was desire, hopes, dreams, and a belief.
And so many prayers just going into this.
Exactly.
So was there a specific moment that just opened your eyes and that kind of just like shook you into place, like, no, look, like, I got to do this. I have to create my path, because most of the time there aren't anything handed to us. If we want something badly enough, we have to stop and create those opportunities for us. So was there a particular moment in time that something kind of like shook you up, or you just kind of decided, like, this is it, I got to do this?
My cooking behaviors at home had become so, I'd spent so much time cooking that it caused some people that love me closely to say, do you realize you cook 8 to 10 hours a day, and you don't do this for a living, you're just doing it.
Because you love it.
You're just doing it, and don't you, is this something we should be worried about? Or maybe it's something that you need to look at and say that it's time to take the show on the road. So I got that kind of feedback from a lot of people that love me. And I realized, at first I heard it, I was like, it can't be possible, because that's happening in another universe, not this universe. The Lori that becomes a chef is a different universe. I'm not that person. Yeah. And yet I said, you know what? I have nothing to lose to try it. I believe in it so much. I'm just going to do what I'm doing now, but I'm going to do it for customers that are going to come in my door, and I'm going to take care of them. Yeah. So I made a decision one night, woke up that morning, kind of wrote out what my vision was, and within 2 weeks started to look for a place. Found this place the very first time. It was just a very small, it was a 1,500 square foot spot.
I remember, yeah, because I'm also from the area, so.
Yeah, we had 6 tables,
yeah,
and it sat 24 people. So when I walked in, I was like, how will I ever fill this restaurant?
Yeah.
But
and I do remember that time, because I can proudly say that my family was one of the first customers when you had first started out, and my parents had found this place, and they instantly called us while they were eating, and they said that we found the most loving place, and they had also met you too for the first time, because you have this thing where you don't, with all the responsibilities that you have in the kitchen, and whether it's executing the orders that you have and managing your staff, directing them, you also take time to step out and chat with each and every one of your customers. So they were one of the ones who you had chatted with that first day they had come into this. And they called me and my sisters and said, we found our new family favorite brunch spot. And then we came like the following week or two with our parents, and we got to meet you too. And that's where our relationship started. And that was just such a magical moment.
Awesome. It's those kinds of magical moments that reinforce for me every second of every day why I'm doing it. I don't even have a second to ever doubt why I'm doing this. And I want to be very honest. I don't want to sound like an irresponsible business person, but the truth is that I've never been motivated to do this from a financial perspective. I know it's important to be responsible with our finances so that I can continue the work I'm doing, but I don't even look at, it doesn't have any motive, has zero impact on my motivation to do what I do.
I understand that completely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm doing this because of those people that are walking in the door.
Yeah.
And because I know that understanding what their needs are and how I can help them is making an impact on them. I know it took me a while to really understand the pattern, but truly the pattern is people come in here hungry. They think they're hungry for a meal. Being hungry for a meal isn't just having an empty stomach. There's more that goes on in the process of sharing a meal with someone you love.
Someone special.
And sometimes a lot of people who are lonely are coming in and sharing a meal by themselves. But they come in here and they know they're not by themselves.
They're not. There's a whole community of people, and it's not just you, but the staff that I know that you've handpicked each and every person that's on your team. And have gone through like such a special process. They're also so loving and so kind, and they walk around with a smile on their face, and they're genuinely happy to be a part of this wonderful team that you've created by yourself.
That's the hiring criteria.
Yeah. And I relate to that, but it's easy to dream about it, but it's easier to dream about it, but it's harder to even make sure that you keep that established and you actually execute that, right?
Yeah.
So it's so magical. Like I could literally come here and I know that I'm going to be like chatting with my favorite people that I know too on your team and just having a conversation.
The people that I don't advertise when I'm looking for new people, and I rarely try to even let anyone know that I'm looking for anyone, because we were talking about the spiritual connection earlier. I believe that the work I do here has a divine purpose, and that in part of that the creation of this whole beautiful journey for me is that the right people are going to come in the door when it's time. And for me, the right person is someone who looks at what you're doing and they're like, wow, how did you do that? I want to know how to make it. Do I do it like this? Oh, look, that plate. Let me get you a new plate because this one has a little scratch on it. The person that seems to care about the details and that's so in love with what we do, and they see someone sitting there, they can tell that person needs a napkin, and they'll go over there, hey, let me get you a napkin, or did you want to try this sauce with this item here? You can tell, I can tell right away if they can express genuine care and love. That is the number one thing that I look for in a person. I am not concerned with their experience. I'm not concerned with their skill level. I'm concerned with their character and the level of warmth that they're able to just
energy.
Let their guard down enough to be kind and loving and genuine and to be here to serve. Because my number one priority with interacting with customers is to make sure those customers are feeling well cared for while they're here.
Yeah, and I'm sure each and every one of them are. I mean, you literally have a fan base account, and I'm a proud member of it. And it's so special to, like, I haven't met like another chef that has something like that. And it's so cool to see that. And I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of how far you've come in these few short years. I remember when this restaurant was like half of its size, maybe even less than that. And it's so cool to see all these people coming together just because they love your food, they love the experience that you provide for them, and they genuinely feel so joyful, like being around you. And I think that's really such a cool thing. But I wanted to ask you, were you always in Houston?
I've lived in Houston since 1977.
Okay.
And prior to living in Houston, I lived in Mexico from 1971 until 1977. Mm-hmm. And just so you know, I was born in 1967. So, but I would say that those years of being in Mexico during that time of life, you know, the 70s, it was a total different world than it is now. If you think about it, no internet, no technology. And we were exposed to so many interesting cultural foods. Those foods kind of became my food memories. So as a person who loved food and loved flavors and smells and colors and all the different things you can do with food, Mexico was like a playground for me, because everywhere you went there was some street vendor putting something together.
There's so much culture with their food. It's insane.
It's like, in the street vendors, like, you know, just the stuff you could learn from just watching people process meat and what vegetables they used and the different things that they would use to bring out the acid and the heat and the intensity of the smells. For me, I must have had some sort of hypersensitive awareness to flavors and smells as a very young child, because I could smell it for a ways away and know what it is that they're cooking and know what spices they're using. So it did have an impact on me. And when I came back to the United States, I felt an emptiness when it came to experiencing happiness with any food that was put in front of me. And I would see places that said Mexican restaurants on them, and I was like, oh, there I can find food that I like. But it's not, it was Tex-Mex, not the same. But I think, truthfully, as an adult, I can look back now, and I think I find myself searching for flavor from the time I came back to America, searching for flavor in everything I tasted and smelled. And it was a driving factor in why I cooked so much, because I was always trying to create more dramatic flavors in everything that I was doing.
And it's evidently present in all of the food that you share. Every plating, like, it's a masterpiece. There's so much that goes on to whether it's different components that are part of the food itself or things that you use to decorate the plating. It just feels like happiness in a plate, and I think that's so great, and it stands out.
It is happiness in a plate. A lot of people say that.
Yeah.
Well, before we go any further, let's make a toast to the Culinary Voice.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm proud of you. What you're doing is awesome.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
People are going to love it.
We're cheersing with this wonderful cocoa you made earlier, and I love it so much. I haven't met a hot chocolate that I have loved this much. You make it with a sea salt fusion experience, so tell me more about that.
Well, you're referring to probably the salted chocolate that's on the top. I love using savory and sweet together. And we are, of course, I make my own chocolate base for the hot chocolate portion of it, made with a fantastic ganache and French chocolate. But the cream here has a little bit of sea salt in it, and then there's some sprinkled on top.
It's so good. It's
Thank you.
Amazing. So now, when I want to switch gears a little bit, I want to talk about a customer's dining experience, which is also so special and so unique. And the experience starts before a customer steps into the restaurant. And so I have a little bit of experience with that. So I'd like to just, go over that a little bit for the audience to get to know a little bit more about. So when we're outside, we are greeted by one of your lovely staff members, and they ask how big our party is. They ask if we have any dietary restrictions. They ask if we're celebrating anything, because on birthdays, you do this thing where you give out tiaras. to all your guests, which is so cool when they're celebrating their birthday. And
let's celebrate your unbirthday today.
Yeah?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Okay.
So what is that going to be?
Give me a second, I'll be right back.
Okay.
Okay.
What is that?
You came to my kingdom today to celebrate your birthday, your unbirthday today. And I'm going to make you queen of the day.
Wow.
Happy birthday, beautiful.
Thank you.
You're
Thank you so
welcome.
much.
Awesome. And you get to keep that. It's my gift to you.
Yeah. So this is what she does, you guys. She makes you feel so celebrated and so loved, which is insanely cool. And it's such a personal thing. So back to what I was saying, she will ask you if you have any dietary restrictions, and she'll ask your name for the party, and then there'll be someone that gives you this ticket to take to the counter where you're ordering at. But my thing that I want to focus on is all the different dietary restrictions that you kind of highlight on, and you make such a personable experience for everyone, and you cater to all of their needs. So let's talk about that. So we have a menu here to look at, and I just want to share all the different things that are on this menu that you've handwritten yourself, whether it's like your mission statement or just the overall choreography of this menu, which I think is really cool. One thing that you do so well is to cater to everyone's dietary needs. So I want to touch base on that, and I want to dig into that a little bit deeper. So tell me your purpose behind that and the reason that you spend so much time making sure that whoever walks into your door has something good to eat.
This also evolved from a spiritual growth perspective. Mm-hmm. The more people that I opened up to and that began opening up to me about the different things that they like to eat, and me also sharing a lot with them, showed me that not only do we live in a world where people are judged for their religious beliefs, their political beliefs, their a variety of different social reasons, but we live in a world where people are judged for their food choices. Mm-hmm. And sometimes those limits that we live with separate us from, not only separate us from good food, but they separate us from others. And I saw too frequently the person who was coming here with maybe with celiac, or that was gluten-free, or the person that was coming asking for something vegan, that those people were treated differently, either in the groups or by other eating establishments. And that a lot of times they would come here just believing that they'll just eat whatever to make it easy on me. So that they would say things like, I don't want to be any trouble. Just give me a salad with grilled chicken, you know. Mm. And I sensed from their energy that they were not able to receive the full joy of the experience of dining here, because they felt that they were a burden to my system by asking me to do something special for them.
Not only that, but maybe even the people that they come to dine here with too. Maybe they don't want to have the time to really see other options that would satisfy them as well.
True. I will tell you, I noticed that the most significant impact on me was seeing people in groups and how the other people in a group would react to the one person who had a special dietary need. Mm-hmm. And it was almost and I could tell that individual felt a little bit of embarrassment, or like they just wanted to gloss over what their needs were. They were reluctant to actually be completely straightforward with me because they were worried about inconveniencing their friends. Mm-hmm. And I could feel it. I could feel that this person feels like they're going to miss out on these things. So I became determined to work through my menu and to create a variety for people that were diabetic or on the keto diet, people that were gluten-free, and people that were vegan and vegetarian. And it took quite a bit of re-planning and re-engineering the work that we had already done, but I did it. And everything on our menu now is available gluten-free. Most of the items are also available keto, and I have the largest selection of vegan and vegetarian food of any restaurant in the area.
Yeah, you really do. And it takes a certain level of care to even want to spend time and execute that and offer all these wonderful things that you do. So I'm pretty sure like all these people are super thankful, and they can come here with an open heart and an empty stomach and know that they will be like satisfied right down to their craving.
They can be satisfied, and then there's an additional element that goes with it, like we were talking about earlier, how much love goes with food, right? Well, when they understand that the goal of this was to remove barriers that divide us as humans in this little universe.
And you have that written on your menu,
I
right?
did.
You have that on the very first page, actually. It says it right over here.
Where we lead with love, and the barriers that divide humanity have no place.
I love that so much.
And I really mean that literally, that this is a place that is filled with love, but I had to make it filter through to the plate as well. So basically, there is nothing here on our menu that should divide the people that come into this restaurant.
That's so incredible. Right. And this takes us back to what we were discussing earlier, is that you had a very unconventional start to this industry. You started off much later on in life, but I'm really glad that you did, that you were strong enough to stop what you were doing at that time and say, no, like I have to pave my own path into the restaurant industry and make this happen no matter what. But I also understand, coming from a culinary family myself, how difficult it is for someone to have that much strength, identify all the different things that go into doing what we do. So what is something that keeps you going? What is something that you kind of lean into during a hard time, whether it's your support system, whether it's your employees that you have on your team, or whether there's a lot of things that you do for the people and for our community, but what is something that you do for yourself during a hard time?
Very interesting. I feel like it wasn't always like this, but the restaurant business has been the single best teaching tool of my life. And I've only been in it for 3 years. I don't know that I would have been ready to receive all these lessons and would have been humble enough to accept the brutal facts that come with it. And right?
Yeah, a lot.
I mean, it takes a warrior, and it also takes somewhat of a Mother Teresa to be able to just be humble enough to do everything that needs to be done, but also tough enough to
maintain that
endure.
level of sanity, which is insane. And I mean, my dad's kitchen served as a classroom for me growing up. It really was a classroom, and I wish I could put into words on how great of a classroom that was, much more than the school system is.
Great.
by all respect, but
that's why
it just taught me
a microcosm
so much.
of life. It really is. For myself, though, because I know that every single challenge that comes my way will result in a positive change in my life. It does not matter if that challenge looks ugly. It doesn't matter how good, bad, or indifferent it is. It will result in a positive change in my life. It's going to teach me something. It's going to make me stronger. And it's going to give me a chance to use the skills I've learned up until now to be able to handle it with grace and poise and honor, and in a way where I can show good leadership. Because at the end of the day, for me, I know that I am a leader. And I will tell you honestly, I did not set out doing this thinking that was the case at all. I set out doing this thinking I was going to cook. That's what I thought.
But it's so much more than that.
But by default, I am in a leadership position, and I must be worthy. And what keeps me going all the time, every single day, is knowing that my greatest challenge is conquering any weaknesses I have in myself that would separate me from leading the people that I am in charge to lead. And that's not just the employees, but I have to lead customers too.
Yeah.
Yep. And coming back every day, seeing people embody and represent the culture that took us years to build, encourages me through everything that comes, good or bad, and encourages me to know that we're on the right path, we're doing the right thing, we're making difference in the lives that we touch, and that the people who are here are content, they are at peace, and they are proud of the work that they do. And that keeps, I say to myself, I can never let these people down.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now all these people that know you and that adore you have all these expectations because you truly set aside so much time to make each and everything that you put out there truly wonderful. So I think it's such a great place to be in, and I'm so proud of your journey. I'm so proud of you, like I said before, about just going into this and putting your heart into it 100%.
That's what it's about.
Yeah, and it's very empowering. And it's an honor to sit across from you and hear about your story.
Thank you. It's my calling. And even though the responsibility now is greater than it ever was before, I feel much more at peace with the path that we're on. I don't feel like I have to actually control anything. I need to show up and make the right choices. But the difference between the life I lived before and this life is that I feel that there is this internal manufacturing of purpose that's happening inside of me that pulls me to where I need to be. I never, ever, ever think, oh my gosh, I can't believe I got to get up and do this again today. I don't think it.
Yeah.
I just know. Oh.
And the people that do,
Friday.
They're not going to survive too long if they do think that way. You have to have, like you say, like this internal calling to be able to show up each and every day and do what it is that you do, that we do. It really takes a lot of strength to do that.
And it's
There's
joy.
like no off day. You can't just have an off day and just close the restaurant just because you're not feeling it or something's like upsetting you, which truthfully happens a lot.
Yeah.
It happens a lot. We have a lot of personal things going on all the time.
And then we have each other.
Yeah, then we have each other,
right.
which is such a blessing.
Yeah.
So many positives that we've talked about and that do come with this industry, no matter how much of the hard work that goes into it. But maybe we can take a moment to talk about what happens when we receive negative feedback or criticism in such a way that it's hard to take in sometimes. So how do you deal with that from your perspective?
It's a very powerful question, and the entire dynamic that surrounds dealing with feedback at all, positive and negative, particularly affects people in our business that are constantly engaging with the public, because you need that personal energy. And for me, and probably a lot of people that are serving customers, you feed off of positive energy. And by the same token, negative energy has the power to really derail you and to really bring out the worst in you if you let it. And it was a hard lesson I needed to learn, because I was very sensitive to feedback. It's one thing if a person is to express to me that they weren't thoroughly satisfied with something that I brought. That's an easy thing I can deal with. I want to serve them. I want them to be happy. So I would immediately say to them, oh, I'm so sorry. Let me take that. What about this or that? I would suggest something else, and just as immediately as possible and seamlessly, making them feel very comfortable about the whole process, quickly replace that meal. That, I do not consider that negative feedback. I actually consider that that is positive feedback for me, because it helps me to do a better job for someone who's just looking for something better, okay? I can deal with an issue that has to do with a plate or something here, but sometimes we're judged on things like our policies, or our availability of tables, or how long the wait is, or what our pricing on the menu is. Things that are just part of our business to deal with. We have a policy about how we handle seating. We don't like to seat people whose parties are incomplete because our restaurant is not very large and we can't take up a table.
And then we have to wait until everyone is here, and that's taking up dining time, and that's holding up a table of someone who's ready.
Yeah, when you're open only 5 hours a day like we
Yeah.
are, it can become pretty, it can have an impact on the operation of the business and how we can serve others. So when I get negative feedback that is totally undeserved and is just a result of people not liking the fact that I set limits for my own business, limits that actually allow me to care for them better, and that allow me to stay in business, that's the type of feedback that produces negative feelings or has the potential to produce negative feelings in me. And I finally had to come to terms with the fact that what we do here isn't for everybody. And I made a decision that some people are, they're going to leave negative feedback no matter what. You could have given them a great experience, and that's just the type of person that they are. They just don't see things in a positive light. In that case, for me, I'm okay with those people not ever coming back, because Harvest is a happy place, and it's a place that's filled with love. And if you are here and you're feeling low and you want to be loved, come.
Right.
But if you are an unhappy person and you don't want to be here, I'm fine with you not being here. I finally had to come to terms with I'm not going to address them. I'm not going to acknowledge them. I'm not going to answer any negative feedback. I'm just going to control the controllables that I have, and guard how I allow things to impact my personal performance and the energy that I'm able to project.
And I think that's very well said on how we feel collectively. I think the way, when you talk about the concept of energy, when the energy that you give out and receive, it should be a positive experience for both people. Like, we're sitting here together and we're sharing this space and this energy. What I'm giving out should be positive for you, and I should feed off positively from you as well. I think that also ties in parallel with the situation at the restaurant. Like, as restaurant owners, you know, there are signs that sometimes people put up that say that we have the right to refuse service. And I think it's really important to use that when it's needed. It's really difficult to do that and turn away when someone's coming in, but if they're just here to cause a ruckus and just to bring people down and mess up your art or what it is that we're serving, what we're here for, I think it's so important, because it's crucial to protect our space and our energy as well.
Yeah.
Because it can really, because if they're starting off that way, who knows like what it's going to get to by the end of their dining experience. And that's something I've personally faced so many times, so much more than I would like to even talk about, and I know you face that as well. So
I do. I always try to feel a situation out and see if there's any hope to warm someone up, where if I'm getting some dark negative vibes from them, I will try to connect with them in a warm and loving way to disarm them without interfering with their personal space. But at the end of the day, I will look out for the best of our team members here. And I actually have a policy that we have a zero tolerance policy against rudeness or harassment. So I'm not going to have anybody be rude or harass our customer, our people.
Yeah, and on the hardest of days, it's important to have a support system when, you know, you've had a great day and then that one customer comes in and kind of just makes you feel so down, and then you have to leave with that energy and walk out of your workplace. So let's talk about your support system. Who does it all encompass, and who are your own foundation that serves as your strength throughout all this?
I have the most spectacular support system I could ever imagine. I could never ask for more of a more wonderful support system than I have right now. I have my beautiful immediate family, my husband, my children and grandchildren, that are 100% supportive of the work I do and of the schedule that sometimes is inconvenient for them. I've got the support of my mom and dad. My mom does all the decorating here, and my dad comes and helps her. And they help us to make this place a beautiful, wonderful place. And the support of my brother and partner, who, while I lead this business and am the person here operating it, provides a great deal of backing and support for the restaurant, so that we can continue to grow and do the things we do.
Yeah, that's so special.
And not to mention the support of the absolute fabulous customers and my amazing team. I mean, those are all amazing, and it's real love.
And they become your family too, because you're in here each and every day.
They do.
With the long hours, and they're so supportive, and they're happy to be a part of your path, which is so cool and so special.
Being authentic, letting my guard down so that I can just be who I really am naturally, and truly and honestly leading with love and care, trying with the intention of trying to connect with every human I interact with, whether they're coming in the door, whether they're serving a latte, if they work here, maybe they're washing dishes. I still go back to the kitchen every single day and touch every single one of my employees and look at them in the eyes and say, thank you for being here. Are you doing okay? I want to connect with them. It doesn't matter who they are or what their role is here. And at the end of the day, those connections are part of that. They are the fabric of that support system. Those same people are there to love me and support me, and sometimes it seems like it's too good to be true, because it's really a beautiful, magical life to be living.
Yeah, it's a dream come true.
It is.
Yeah, well, I can't stress this enough, but I truly love the way you love everyone around you. I love the energy that you put out there, and I hope that always stays with you. And
Thank you.
It's truly your own like personal beauty. So I love that. And thank you so much for having me here today, for giving me an opportunity to dig deeper into who Chef Lori is, as a person. It's such a blessing to be here. And yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Thank you.